Good morning and welcome to our artist interview series from the exhibition Graphic Pole, Contemporary Prints from the Collection at the National Museum of Art at Duke University. And this morning we're here with artist Stacy Lynn Waddell talking about her piece, Awful Conflagration of the Steamship Lexington after Nathaniel Currier, 1840 to 2011. And the medium is burned and branded paper with watercolor, gold leaf, and acrylic. And it was a museum purchase in 2012. Thanks for being with us, Stacy.
Thanks for having me.
I just wanted to hear a little bit more about the piece in general.
Well, in general, it's an image that I've long been interested in. The steamship is a sort of a quintessential symbol of American progress, if you will, from the 19th century, along with the steam-powered train system. But in this case, this is one of Currier's disaster images. And what I mean by disaster, there are lots of conflagrations or fires that he depicted. And this one in particular just sort of rang out to me because it seemed to be, at first glance, an image from a fairy tale or some sort of interesting narrative, even a cautionary tale. And so I found myself really interested in the backstory, but also creating opportunities for different meaning, for new meaning.
Why are you pulled to this kind of printmaking or creation of art in this particular way? And how do you see your work, this branding, or maybe you can talk about it a little more, in the context of the printmaking medium?
Well, I'm honored to even be in the realm of printmaking. I have friends that are printmakers. With a capital P. I'm more of a kitchen sink printmaker, if you will. Things are very rudimentarily considered and done. I mean, the repetition is done by sort of the stamping and the repeating of a motif on my branding irons, the same kind of tool that a rancher would use to brand cattle. And now I get to order them as electric devices. So that stamping and that repetition is an emphatic mark. It's a signature. In this case, letter form, which is repeated, is a connection to text, if you will, sort of the backstory. But also, printmaking allows for a kind of a way to create a series of something, but also, again, for me, it's mostly a way of leaving a signature, of leaving a mark. And so the marks that I make on the page are drawing, but they're also done in a mechanized fashion and a repetitive fashion that is akin to printmaking. I'm a mixed media artist, which means that most of my drawings, the works that I make, I think could mostly be called drawing, are made with different materials. And the materials for me are the way in which I get people interested in what's happening in the image. I want people to question and to be fascinated by how a mark is made or an expanse of gold. Is it paint? Is it actual gold? In this case, it's gold leaf and gold acrylic paint, but reflection and refraction and this kind of burnt imagery are all things that are rather unusual. And so that, for me, those are portals that I can sort of get the viewer to go down to ask questions about materials that also lead to questions about meaning.
How has the pandemic affected your art making? Have you been making any prints lately or works that you sort of see in that context?
Well, when the pandemic first happened, I remember clearly thinking, oh, if everything else fails, I can draw. I can make drawings. And so I don't share my studio space, so I could have worked there safely. But in the initial moments of everything happening, I thought, okay, hunker down. So I ran to the studio, grabbed a bunch of basic materials, and made drawings at home. small drawings at my kitchen table while I could be in my pajamas and have a cup of coffee and that kind of thing. And it's not generally the way that I work, but what it did do was it kind of routed me back to some basic tools in my arsenal that I had sort of moved away from in the name of scale and other reasons. And it brought my attention back to drawing, really, in a very basic way. I've since kind of gone back to the studio, obviously, and working on deadlines for other projects, but the pandemic was, I think, a reminder, a time of reminding me of some things that I had begun some years ago that I needed to get back to. And I need to focus on some foundational ways of making images.
Are there any kinds of printmaking that you've never tried before but are excited to do one day? Or maybe, you know, while we're still at home, is this a good time to start something
all
new?
Of them. I want to do
all of them.
Yeah. But I think right now, if I had to choose one, it probably would be intaglio. I'm really interested in metal plates and acid baths and washes and the kinds of procedural things that allow you to get nuance on a metal plate. And then after printing the plate, for me, the plate as a sculptural element, as an object, is just a beautiful thing. So yeah, intaglio, scratching into something that's metal.
Yeah, and the brand is almost like that sort of carving into
That's right.
paper, though, as opposed to a metal plate.
When
but
I
it's
burn and brand into paper, it leaves that mark that's below the surface. And so there's an incredible amount of surface that you could actually pull a print from. You could take any number of my drawings that are mostly burned, ink them up, and make an impression.
Yeah.
You could do so.
And do you have any advice for young artists or printmakers working, especially today?
Advice. I am like the worst person to ask advice. And I say that because my journey has been very unusual. It's been circuitous. I'm a late bloomer in all things in life. But I think if forced or asked to give advice, I'd probably say to allow yourself the space to have as many different kinds of experiences as an artist as you possibly can. Those experiences are the things that propel you forward as an artist. And being an artist is about living in the world. It's a primer for being a person, for being a human being. I really believe that. And the other thing I'd probably say is to draw as much as you can. To never leave drawing. I don't care if you're a photographer, if you're a sculptor, whatever it is that you do, stay with drawing because it's like writing or reading. It's the basis of everything that you do. And it also allows you to function no matter what, in a pandemic, on a train, at home at your kitchen table, with very little space and with very little resources, you can still make drawings. So keep drawing, people.
Great advice. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. You can follow me on Instagram at Stacey Lynn Waddell or my website, which is www.staceylynwaddell.com. Thank you.